the brief statement from Kevin and then Jason, and then we'll open it up to questions. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thanks. Well, hello, everyone. Certainly excited to announce Jason Karmanos as Associate General Manager of the Buffalo Sabres. Very exciting day for us. I want to welcome Jason and his wife, Christy, and 4 daughters to the Sabres family, and just let everyone know this was a critical hire for us. I feel that Jason is someone that, for me, checked all the boxes. He is a person of integrity, high character, has great experience, track record of success in multiple organizations, and certainly someone that I've known for many years and trust. So I'll turn it over to Jason, but excited to make that statement.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Really excited to be joining the Sabres organization. Want to thank the Pagulas and Kevin for the opportunity. Buffalo is a great hockey market. I know that from my experience of being in Buffalo a lot over the years. Love the passion that the city has for hockey and the Sabres in particular, and really looking forward to being a part of that. So happy to take questions later, and look forward to meeting you all and getting to know you more over time.
Kevin and Jason, thanks for your time today. Jason, Mike Harrington from the Buffalo News here. My question to you is, you're joining an organization clearly rebuilding yet again, both internally and in the front office, about to miss the playoffs again for the 10th straight year. You come from a championship pedigree, all the cups in Pittsburgh, the one in Carolina, and other strong seasons as well. As you join Kevin in this kind of culture makeover again for this club, what are your early priorities to help Kevin spark some sort of turnaround here?
Yeah, I think I'm a big believer that when you're an outsider to an organization, you're just that. You know, you might have an opinion, you have an outside perspective, but until you get in and start talking to people that are within the organization and understanding the processes that are in place, you know, your opinion isn't what it needs to be in order to make, you know, to give you an accurate answer to your question. So I'm really looking forward to getting into Buffalo, getting to know the people that are there, understanding better what's gone on from an inside perspective. And like I said, you know, it's a great hockey market, you know, and coming to Buffalo and the idea of working with Kevin and the Pagulas over time and building a winner, you know, that's really exciting to me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hey, Kevin and Jason, I have 2 questions for both of you. One, I'll start with Kevin. Just while we have you here, you know, just your reaction to the news that Jack Eichel won't play for the rest of the season, and does he need surgery? And then a question for Jason is just, you know, how do you see your role now with the organization and, you know, helping Kevin continue to build this roster and get this organization back on track?
Yeah, I can jump in first here, Heather. Yeah, I think as I mentioned, the days are running together. What day was it? Monday. You know, on Jack Eichel's situation, I'd have a bit more an opportunity to share more, and here we are. So I knew what was coming after that day, just some of the conversations. But I want to back up a little bit on Jack. He sustained an injury, you know, now a few weeks ago that quickly after our medical team took a look at, did all the imaging, and, you know, there was a herniated disc in his neck there. The course of treatment was to rehab it and to give it some time to see if the disc could move back to where the doctors were comfortable. And then, you know, the hope was that he could jump back in and play. That was done last week. And although there was slight improvements, there still wasn't a comfort from anyone that it was the right time to jump back into the lineup. So what we did was put a call together Tuesday now with multiple doctors and Jack and his agents and myself and just a number of people to discuss the situation, make sure we were all on the same page and all openly, honestly speaking, for next steps. And the next steps were to shut Jack down for this season, continue to do his rehab, and then we will re-examine him early into May and see where we are then in appropriate next steps will again happen. I think the key here, Heather, is that we all want the same thing for Jack, and Jack included. We all want him to be back on the ice, 100% healthy. And we all feel that that will happen at the start of training camp next year. But, you know, next steps will be next steps in a few more weeks from where we go from here.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump in with the second part of the question. That was for me. Yeah, looking to hit the ground running here. Looking forward to getting into Buffalo on Monday. That's the plan. It's a little bit, obviously, a weird year with COVID restrictions and everything, but looking forward to getting to know people, subject to, you know, my ability to do so in person and all of that. Next week, see some home games, get to Rochester, watch them play next week as well. And then we'll be heading to Texas for the U18. So there's a lot coming up here in the next couple weeks. So to answer your question, it's just getting into it, getting to know people, getting a better understanding of the organization, and getting a better feel for the team in person, both in Buffalo and in Rochester. And then, like I said, an important tournament in the under 18s. There aren't too many opportunities to see live games these days. That's one, and there's a lot of players there. And obviously we are going to have a very good draft pick and lots of picks in general. So I've been involved in the draft very intimately in Pittsburgh for the last 4 years. So I look forward to working with the staff, and like I said, just ready to get, hit the ground running.
Hi, Jason. Lance Lysowski from the Buffalo News. Welcome to Buffalo. First of all, I know that you have a relationship with Kevyn dating back a while now, but when you're looking at this opportunity, and I don't know if you had other opportunities or other jobs to really choose from, but what sort of due diligence did you do to make sure that this was the right fit for you, and that this is an organization that you can come into and help it take the next step?
Yeah. Thanks, Lance. I did. I was talking to another team, did have another opportunity. At the end of the day, I was more excited about coming to Buffalo and being part of helping Kevyn and the Pagulas and everybody else in the organization, and getting to where we want to get to. I believe what I said before, that the passion for the game and for the Sabres in the market, to me, that's a really exciting thing. I know that there's been disappointment. Can't change what's gone on in the past, but I look forward to getting a better understanding of what's going on currently. I think, at this point, I'm somebody that's had a lot of experience in all areas of hockey operations. I've been with some bad teams and some great teams, and I look forward to bringing that experience and helping the Sabres get to where they want to get to. So, quite frankly, this is what usually happens when there's a job opportunity like the one I have. Things aren't going as planned, and so I'm looking forward to getting us on the right track.
Welcome aboard, Jason. John Worrell with the AP. My question, though, is for Kevyn, and it's kind of like, what pitch did you make to Jason? And I ask in the sense that your views now when it comes to roster building, how much have you learned about this team, and how much, Kevyn, how much is maybe a big splash not needed, versus building an actual team, and maybe the problem all along being culture versus cost with this franchise? What was your, in what you could share, what was your pitch to Jason, and what is your thoughts on team building now going forward that you can look ahead to the offseason?
Well, I think, if I start with the pitch to Jason, I think what's important is we were philosophically aligned. Jason and I have known each other for a very long time. There's certainly a history and a trust that we have had built over years, but in saying that, we've never worked in this type of setting together. So it was critical that we talked philosophically what we believe. The opportunity that I outlined that for Jason was very important for him to understand the roles and responsibility. But I want to be really clear, everything that's going to be happening from today moving forward in our organization, Jason's going to be involved with. We're going to make decisions together. We're going to work hand in hand in every area with other staff members. And, you know, what you talked about, the roster and culture, that's all part of how we're moving forward. And certainly Jason's experience and what he's done in his career is going to be invaluable to how we put this roster together. And what I've learned over the course of this year about just, you know, where the league's at, where our players are at, how I feel we need to move forward from an identity standpoint. That's all of the stuff that we're going to be working on immediately. So it's exciting. And that's why it was so critical to find someone like Jason that had the background, had the successful pedigree, and someone that, you know, I could trust immediately.
Hey, Jason, Brian Duff from Sabres TV here. Just following up on the team building notion, I'm curious to know how your critical thinking on team building at both the NHL and AHL levels has changed, evolved for you personally over the last couple of decades.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. Thanks, Brian. It's, you know, I started in 1998. My daughters refer to that as the 1900s, which technically is true, but it's kind of funny. So the game has changed dramatically from that point to now. And, you know, the game's quite frankly better, in my opinion. And the speed and the skill in today's game is fun to watch. And it just seems like it keeps getting better and better. The young players that are coming into the game year after year here, it's pretty incredible. So it's great for the game of hockey. It's great for the sport. It's great for the Sabres, and that you know, we have an opportunity to add another young talent to the organization. But you know, I think I'm someone that keeps an open-minded approach. I think I'm somebody that has adapted over time and learned, you know, from mistakes, quite frankly, that are made at sometimes, and learn from things that have gone well. So, you know, the basic idea of having depth in your organization is something that has contributed to all three of the Stanley Cup championship teams that I've been a part of. Depth throughout the lineup. You know, even in goal, it seems to be that most Stanley Cup winners end up using at least a couple goalies through the process to get all the way. So, you know, it's a process. It takes time. You can't underestimate how much depth and speed and skill and ability to compete throughout your lineup, how important that is to get to the ultimate goal. So, you know, like I said before, I'm not suggesting that I know completely where the Sabres are on that timeline. You know, sometimes things can be a little closer than they appear. Sometimes they can be a little further off than you might think they are. When you're inside, that's when you, I think, have a better idea of where you are organizationally. So I'm looking to gather more information with Kevyn, with everybody there, and hopefully get us there in time. That's the goal.
Hey, Jason. Ted Goldberg from Spectrum News here in Buffalo. Welcome aboard. Thanks for hopping on with us today. I know you just talked about depth in goal, and when you look at this team now, I mean, Dustin Tokarski starting tonight, maybe not a guy that we thought would be starting this many games this season. You know, Carter's on the shelf, and Linus just got hurt. But throughout the team, I mean, there have been so many injuries. And with Jack, you know, Jack is out, and, you know, the defenseman, Will Borgen's out, Jake McCabe is out. How difficult does this make your job to evaluate this roster for the rest of the season when it's, I don't know if a patchwork is the right word here, but there's just so many guys who are supposed to be key for this team this season, and they're just not there.
Yeah. I think that's a theme for our world right now. I don't think you can evaluate things under these circumstances. It's been a tough year, you know. The injuries are part of the game, but there seems to be a lot of them, and concentrated in one position at any point in time is a tough situation to handle. So, yeah, you know, I think what you do when you're in a position like I'm in is you have to just be aware of that, and you have to like I said, not over-evaluate things in its current state. There are ways, I think, through experience to try to see through some of the short-term issues that a team might be dealing with. It doesn't make it any easier for the team or the organization to deal with those things. But you certainly, need to take a longer term approach to, decision-making, and certainly when you're trying to understand the organization, the strengths and the weaknesses, it's something that takes a little time to uncover. So I want to do that. I'm excited to begin that process. At some point, I think it's theoretically possible for the Sabres to experience the flip side of that and to remain healthy for a stretch. It seems to go in cycles. So let's hope for that.
Hi, guys. I guess this question is for both of you. Could you just kind of explain the genesis of your relationship and how it's evolved over the years? I guess you guys were teammates on the World Junior team in 1993-94. I guess, is that where it started? Could you just kind of explain the relationship?
Sure. I can, maybe Jason can fill in the holes, but, we're the same age. So when you're younger, and maybe we were both kind of invited to USA Hockey, camps, and got to know each other from the time we were in our teens. And then we were rivals playing against each other in junior hockey. He obviously playing for CompuWare in the Michigan area, and me growing up here in Buffalo playing. So I'd say we really became teammates and friends when we played with Team USA in the World Juniors, and instantly we became good friends, and have a lot of respect for how smart and as a hockey player Jason was, not just because he played at Harvard, but because he was just a good, smart hockey player. And I had a lot of respect for him as a player. And then clearly the career he's had as an executive speaks for itself. But through our years in Carolina, obviously, our relationship stayed strong, and we've always stayed in touch, and our families have stayed in touch. And Jason's just like, as I open, a quality person, a high character, high integrity. And I really am a believer you surround yourself with the highest quality people you can. And that's what I'm getting in Jason.
Yeah. Obviously, Kevin mentioned all those early years, and then, somehow he was a first rounder and I wasn't drafted, and I was done before 6 months went by in my pro career. But anyways, our paths crossed when we traded for him in Carolina. It was one of the better deals that I've been a part of. Kevin came into Carolina along with Brett Hedican, and that really was a key deal to solidify that team. And we went on a run that year, going to the finals in 2002, losing to just a Hall of Fame Detroit team. And I think people forget, how good of a fight we put up there, and that series could have gone the other way. A triple overtime loss there in game 3. So long history. And then Kevin, was on our cup team in 06 in Carolina. Don't have to kind of bring those memories back up, I don't think, for Buffalo, but Kevin was a leader on that team. Wasn't surprised by that, by what I knew about him from when we were kids. But and just, it's funny the way life works sometimes. The twists and turns, and the people you meet up with over and over again. Kevin's one of those people. We have a great relationship, and even extends to our wives and their families and stuff. So it's nice. That's not something that is a given in this business. It's not a necessary ingredient, but it's nice all the same, to be working with somebody that I have so much respect for, and that we, have a lot of common ground in terms of like how we see the world and family and that sort of thing. So really excited to be, on this journey with him and the Sabres. And like I keep saying, really looking forward to it. It's exciting.
I have a question for both. For Kevin, it's a very quick question. Who is your taxi squad goalie going to be tonight? And for Jason, when it comes to overseeing a scouting department, what is your philosophy on that? What kind of structure do you want to see in a scouting department?
So the quick answer, Paul, is you found the nuance of the CBA here. This is a tricky one because UPL first day back on the ice was today. So we hope to have him with us tomorrow if necessary. Linus will be getting checked out by our doctors, and we'll have more information there. So tonight we'll have an emergency backup goalie situation rather than a taxi situation, and that's obviously been discussed with the league.
Yeah, and then on the scouting staff question, obviously, your scouting is traditionally broken up into your amateur scouts and your pro scouts. That's a question, again, I don't mean to just keep saying the same thing over and over again, but understanding how what the structure should be, in my opinion, has a lot to do with the people that are already there. There's on the amateur side, there's a couple different things going on, at least. There's, obviously scouting reports and watching players, but there's also the building of the list, the draft list, and they're two very different things. Obviously, in an organization, you want the philosophy to be aligned throughout the organization. So there needs to be consistency in what you're looking for. Players that you acquire in the draft, and that should be aligned, in my opinion, with the types of players you're looking to acquire through free agency, through trades, building an identity that's clear, that your staff members understand, having a process in place where you look at the information that you gather over time and you figure out what correlates to future NHL success. And following that and having a consistent way of measuring NHL success and having a clear definition of what that means throughout the organization. So that's something I've been a part of in Pittsburgh. The genesis of some of those ideas began in Carolina. It has to do with a lot of the information that's now available that didn't used to be available to hockey operations staffs in the past. So there's sort of a blending of what people refer to as the new and the old in terms of the information that can be incorporated into the decision-making process. But that's just what it is, information. And I'm interested in making sure that we're using all the information that we have at our disposal to make the best decisions possible. And doesn't mean that you're going to make every decision work out. I've worked long enough in this business to know that you're going to make some mistakes along the way, in particular with the draft. The kids are young, but you're trying to find that edge and do the best you can. Everybody's trying to do the same thing, build a winner. So you're looking for that edge in any way you can. And I think I have learned some things over the years, and hopefully I'll be able to help.
Kevin, a couple quick housekeeping things here. How much is Jack Quinn at center an experiment or simply a necessity based on how thin the Amherst are? And secondly, on all the goaltending situation, where is UPL's health vis-a-vis? Could he play this weekend in Buffalo if you wanted to make that decision? Is he healthy enough to even do that?
Yeah, that's the hope. Mike, he may play this weekend if he was on the ice today, as I mentioned, and it was all reports are positive. So we'll see where we're at tomorrow. But there may be a situation where where we feel he's ready, and depending on how the health of our other goaltenders that we'll know over the next 24, 48 hours goes, that may happen. In terms of Jack Quinn at center, it's interesting. I went to the game last night with Terry Pagul and took a drive, and we went and watched. And one of the things we talked about around the draft last year was a lot of Jack Quinn's data and the numbers around him. He played it almost as if he was a center, and there was always a thought with his abilities, and if he was the OHL or a normal season would have happened, he likely would have played center. So We've always thought that's a possibility. They're a serious decimated lineup right now, and Seth Appert and I discussed it before the game yesterday and thought it would be good to give him the opportunity. He was tremendous yesterday. He played very well. Didn't look out of place, and versatility is a key ingredient to success for players and teams. So if we can have Jack learn and be comfortable at center, you can always shift to wing. He can play either wing. You know, I know that's something the Bills talk a lot about is versatility and how do you get more out of players. So for me, it's only positive, but we'll see where that goes. I certainly don't mind seeing that moving forward here over the next couple of weeks.
Hi, Jason. John Vogel with The Athletic. Congratulations. Regarding scouting, the draft's obviously 3 months away. A lot of people are under contract now. As far as the scouting department goes, is that something that you maybe tweak and analyze after this draft, or can you really do some big changes before this draft?
That's to be determined, I think. It's not something that I really have all the information right now that I need to answer that question. But I think the key for me is reminding myself, reminding others that this is not a normal year in terms of what normally goes into the process. So it's like a bad sheet of ice. Everyone's dealing with the same thing. And so you try to do the best you can, but you also have to keep that in mind. When we go down to see these guys in Texas, some of these kids haven't played meaningful games in quite some time. So their performance in that tournament, I think you need to also understand and have a little background on how this would be different, certainly from a normal year when players roll into the U18. So that's just a general comment that I think that most people would agree with, but that I'm going to make a point to keep reminding myself. But no, that's an information gathering process. I need to understand more about the process that's in place, get to know the scouts themselves, understand, more about them and what's gone on in the past, and then apply that to the experiences I've had. Over time, I would think there would be, tweaks, but, again, it's a to be determined thing that's based on the information that I start to gather as I work with Kevyn and others.
All right, we're all set. Thank you, Kevyn and Jason, for your time today.
Thanks everyone.